Hello there, people of the internet. Happy weekend from me and Nandor the Relentless. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a few weeks since I've uploaded on the old channel, and the only reason I have for that is I was just really sad. I was just really sad, and it's really hard to come on the internet and talk and be jolly and just exist when you're really sad. So took a couple of weeks off. I am now less sad, so I thought, let's get back in the saddle. Let's talk about journals for a while. This is probably going to be a long and chatty one, so if you have not secured a beverage, I would recommend doing so. I've got myself some water in this very nice mug of Durham Cathedral's door knocker. It's a cool door knocker. Anyway, 30 seconds in and we're off track. Let's focus. Today, I'll be taking you through my Hobonichi Cousin so far. I've been using it about 2 months now, actually, because I started it mid-December time, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out, actually. I did make a video probably a couple months ago, end of December, about how I intended to use this book. As is so often the way, it's changed. I'm not using it in the exact way that I'd planned to at first. So I thought I'd take you through how this wonderful big journal of everything has transformed a bit in the last couple of months. Without further ado, let's start with the yearly page, which I had intended to use. That's an empty one. I had intended to use to track the different types of exercise I was doing, because one of my big things for this year is just moving my body a bit more, because as a very kind physiotherapist told me this week, I'm not really doing that enough, and it's actually hurting my body. So anyway, was hoping to do tons of different types of exercise. I'm gonna learn to run and lift weights and do all of this cool stuff. But turns out, if you've been sedentary for 28 years and then you suddenly decide that you want to do all of the activities, it's just not going to work out, because I got very overwhelmed very quickly. Did not, in fact, do all of the activities. You can see I did walk. I did a lot of walking and then could not bring myself to do anything else. And that was good information, because it turns out if I want to exercise, I should just walk, because I like walking. I'd like to think I'm fairly good at it. Actually, that's a lie, I'm not. I fall over all the time. This isn't going well. I like it, all right? I like walking, so I'm going to keep walking. And I'm not going to worry too much about doing different types of exercise. I am going to do some daily weight stuff, just simply because that's what my physiotherapist told me to do. I've got a dodgy shoulder and I have to punch the air with some weights a few times a day to make it less dodgy. But apart from that, I'm basically just going to walk. Lots of walking. Because of that, I figured no point tracking different types of exercise. Let's just track how many steps I do. I know the goal is supposed to be medically 10,000 a day, but as you can see from the first couple of numbers here, I am starting from a very low baseline. 10,000 is probably just a bit too far for me right now. So my goal for this month, February, is to average 5,000 a day. And I'm doing fairly well, actually, because as it turns out, I really do love walking. So I just kind of go out and I'm oh, I'll just be 5 minutes. And then half an hour later, I'm in a field watching birds swoop above me and just feeling very happy. But then also realizing, oh, it's been half an hour and I'm in a field and I have a meeting soon. Oh no. So loving walking, getting lots of steps in. Probably need to learn to balance it a bit better with my actual obligations and responsibilities. But gonna keep using these pages to track my steps. I'm a couple of days behind. It's Friday today. And to be honest, I did not do the most steps today or yesterday. I just needed a couple of days chilling, to be honest. So anyway, that's how I'm using this. In the end, I've decided not to track YouTube and Instagram stats here, because I'm just doing that in my Hobonichi weeks, which I'll make a separate video about how I'm using this now. Anyway, this is just going to be abandoned for these 6 months at least. Obviously, in the next 6 months, because I left them blank, I might be able to do something cool, but that is a long way off. Anyway, here we are. Yearly pages, tracking my steps. I'm hoping that as the months go by, I'll do steadily more steps, and to be fair, that probably will happen just naturally because the weather's going to get better, hopefully. I mean, January and February aren't the best times to go out walking outside, at least not in the UK. It's been pretty miserable, and I've been kind of compensating for that by walking around the house, just in circles. My cat probably thinks I'm insane because I just walk around in circles and she has no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, I think it will be easier to get steps in once going outside regularly is a bit more feasible, which it hopefully will be relatively soon. Although it is still only like early February, so maybe I should manage my expectations. All right, I have been blabbering on at a mile a minute about a very, very simple page for quite some time now, and I'm going to call it here and move on before I literally spend half an hour talking about all the different places I like to walk. I can do a video about that if you want, but I mean, nobody cares. So anyway, let's move on to the monthly page if I can find it. Here we go. Right. So this is serving as an index of the daily pages, and I think I'd mentioned in my video about like how I'm using the Cousin this year that I'd hoped to like decorate it in ways that reflected the content. So like, for example, Taylor Swift, let's put a sticker of her there. I decided not to do that in the end because I just wrote about a lot of different stuff and it probably would have just looked really weird to have like, I don't know, Link chilling next to Taylor Swift Time Person of the Year. Like, who knows, maybe that's a crossover we need to see. But you will not be seeing it today here. I decided to just kind of pick a colour, a theme, and run with it. So that was blue. I always associate January with like a pale blue, maybe because it's cold and blue is a cold colour. I stuck in some washi tape that's blue, obviously, and I also stuck in some kind of light blue themed washi stickers from the washi tape shop. They kindly sent me these as a gift, and as I mentioned maybe last video or something, I do have like a discount code for them, which is in the description of this video and every video. Anyway, I went with, yeah, pale blue and some nice like tea and croissant themed stickers. What more could you want in life than tea and a good pastry? And yeah, I just wrote down what I'd written about. Obviously, quite a few entries spanned multiple pages, so I just signified that with an arrow, and I like how it turned out. It's simple and it's actually functional because I have used this. There have been some quotes and like entries I've wanted to return to, and it's so much easier now that I have a little index going on. The one annoying thing about it is my blue fountain pen ran out, or the one I had blue ink in, and I don't have any more blue ink. Like, I thought I had a whole packet. I don't. So I had to finish this in black ink. And the lack of consistency is making my autistic brain very unhappy. But I'm just trying to ignore that. It's not there. Let's just pretend it's not there. Anyway, yeah, index. Love it. Love how simple it is. Love how functional it is. And looking forward to doing the same thing for the February pages. Now, let's turn to the weeklies, which have changed. This is where the kind of experimentation has really come in. So I had intended to use the weeklies first as just like daily journaling, and then also to track like media that I'd consumed. And I did do this for the first couple of weeks. You can see here lots of very long journal entries with my little Coffee Monsters co-emoji stickers and some from Salam Creative as well, just to like visually represent some of the stuff I did. I did like how it looked, right? And I liked tracking media in the sidebar. I kind of wrote down basically everything I watched, the kind of stuff I listened to, some reading, although January wasn't the best reading month for me, but that's fine. Not every month has to be. And then on this week, I tracked like the songs that were particularly stuck in my head that day. I don't think I carried that on because it's just going to be the same songs most weeks. I'm not going to lie. And it's going to get repetitive. So yeah, anyway, I liked how this turned out and I carried on with it. As you can see here, a nice journal page with some more stickers from the washi tape shop. But this was the week when I began to think to myself, I don't like that I'm restricting my daily journaling practice to a very thin column. And there were quite a few days where I got to the end of the little column and was like, oh, I wish I'd had more space because quite a lot of fun stuff happened today and I wish I had the room for it. And then there were other days when I was really just scrambling for anything to write because I was like, this has been a boring day. Like, what do I write? So I began to realise that having a very set amount for every day just wasn't working for me. I'd rather have the space and the flexibility to either journal a lot if I need to, or not journal at all if nothing of note has happened that day. You know, this just felt a bit too regimented for a daily journaling practice for me. So I decided to move daily journaling to the daily pages, as kind of makes sense, alongside commonplacing, that is. I didn't get rid of the commonplacing. And that left me wondering, how should I use these columns if I'm not journaling in them? And I think next week is when I started. Yes, it is. So what I did was start gratitude logging again. I'll turn to the next one because this one has like a weird half and half going on where I started journaling and then was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and started gratitude logging. So let's go to this one, which is just pure, unfiltered gratitude. I had been doing this in my Hobonichi Cousin last year, where in the daily pages actually, in like the little sidebar-y bit here, which I've hidden in this spread, but anyway, there's like the little sidebar there. I'd been using it as like a gratitude log, and I'd actually noticed it seriously improved my mental health. Even if the stuff I was writing was like, I'm grateful that cats exist, like it was helping. And then I decided to use the daily pages for something else and was like, oh, I guess I'll just continue gratitude logging in a different notebook, but then just never did. So I decided to bring it back into my cousin as like a daily thing. This is where being regimented in the weeklies actually helps, because now I'm incentivized to practice gratitude every day so that can fill the column. And it's been going really well. I've been finding plenty to be grateful for, usually like 4 or 5 things each day, unless something is like a really long expression of gratitude, and then I might do fewer. But yeah, I think it's helping. I think it's helping me be less sad. It's definitely helping me reflect on the good of every day, if that makes sense, which has been particularly helpful while I've been going through a tough time. Because when you're going through a tough time, it's very easy to sink into that woe is me, everything is terrible, I will never be happy again kind of mindset. And gratitude has kind of prevented me from sinking quite that far. And I do find that gratitude logging in itself is quite a good method of daily journaling, because often the things I'm grateful for are very specific things that happened that day. So in a way, I'm keeping the memory of it while also being grateful for it. So for example, I know that on Friday the 2nd, I was watching the rugby because I wrote about it in my gratitude log. It was a really good game, actually. France versus Ireland. It was a banger. Anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to continue doing this. I've even got a little habit tracker for it in my Hobonichi weeks now so that I don't forget. Although, full disclosure, if we turn to this week, I didn't do it yesterday. But in my defense, I was out watching Shrek the Musical and did not have time to practice gratitude when I got home. So I'll do that today. But yeah, I'm really loving this. And I am loving tracking media still. I don't think that's going to change, even though the journaling part has. I've been able to record really fun stuff, like the fact that I just randomly discovered Mitsuki, the musician, and have been missing out for years apparently, and have been reading about different topics. I've started reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. Last year was my like Akatar journey. I started it and then I flew through the first 2 books and was like, I want to just pause for a bit because I don't want this to be over. And like, I know there's still like 2 books and a novella left and they're long books, but I was like, I don't want to get to the end. So I like didn't read it for about 6 months and now I'm back into it. And am I back into it? It's absolutely cracking. I'm loving it. I can't believe I ever thought Tamlin was a good person. Anyway, yeah, that's the weeklies. I'm really loving this setup. I'm hoping this will stick for a while, because if I'm honest, I was really struggling to think of things to do in the weekly. So if gratitude doesn't work out, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just doodle random shit like in these columns every day. I don't know, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is working right now and hopefully it will continue to do so. Alrighty, now we can move to the main event really, which is the daily pages. And a note before we start looking through them is that I started filling these out in December. So there are some things that are very December specific that are going to be in here that might be a bit confusing because it's in January's daily pages, but I'm not sticking to the dates here. I'm just doing whatever I want, wherever I want, whenever I want. And it's quite liberating, actually. Okay, let's start with the cover page, which, what has happened there? What's that? It's like a little mark. This is a scandal of the highest order. I don't know how that happened. Okay, well, I'm just gonna pretend that's not there. Let's talk about the cover. What I did was I left this blank until the end of the month, and then I decided to print out some photos that kind of summed up the month for me. So this is of a starling murmuration, which you can't actually see because it's quite small, but basically there's a really big flock of birds in the sky flying that I saw when I went to a friend's house, and we had a really lovely like party, except in like the late 20s version of a party, which is eating cheese and playing Cards Against Humanity. And when I stepped out of the car, when we got there was just this incredible starling formation in the sky. So I took a photo and it makes me very happy. And speaking of things that make me very happy, the cat being beautiful as ever, basking in a sunbeam. There's also this wonderful hot chocolate I had when I saw my friend Courtney. We went to a garden centre near me, which does very good hot chocolate, it turns out. And I got to meet her dog for the first time. He's wonderful. And then this is just a picture of the sky that I took while I was at the bus stop. It's nothing majestic. There's a bin in the foreground, but I really liked how the sky looked. So yeah, I commemorated that. There is also at the top here a meme that it kind of summed up how I was feeling about life in January. It may look quite depressing at the outset because state of the world, bad. Mental health, also bad. There is a skeleton, it's on fire. But it's charging forward because that is all we can do, isn't it really? When things get tough, you just gotta find a way to keep on going, like this apparently flammable skeleton did. So yeah, that's my fatalistic meme of the month, which I also made the cover photo of one of my Spotify playlists, so I'm a fan. On to the commonplace entries. What better way to christen a new set of commonplace pages than to write about the Queen herself, Taylor Swift? I copied down some quotes from her Time Person of the Year, interview/article thing, because yeah, I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, and some of it was actually very inspirational, I'm not gonna lie. There was this one quote that was about why people like her music. I think I might have written it down on here somewhere. We'll just turn to this page anyway. It was basically about how her music validates all of us who feel things very deeply and who don't want to hide that. When you're a person who feels things very deeply and you've perhaps grown up in a culture where that's kind of frowned upon, like British stiff upper lip, we don't have emotions, type thing, you kind of start to feel like your emotions are just invalid and that nobody else feels the way you do and that feeling is bad. But Taylor Swift's music for me has always been just an example of how you can express emotion and it can be a very beautiful thing and in fact a very necessary thing. And she truly does also have a song for basically every possible thing that you could feel. So yeah, perhaps why I was so drawn to her music from the tender age of 13, which is her lucky number. So it was clearly meant to be. But anyway, yeah, really enjoyed that article and that quote. Wrote a whole 3 pages of quotes from it, so that says a lot. And then on the next page, actually kind of inspired by the article, it mentioned a particular song of hers called Mastermind, which I always liked the production of, but I'd kind of not really listened to the lyrics that deeply. And then the article mentioned the bridge of that song, and I realised, oh boy, did that resonate. So I copied it out in some nice calligraphy. I don't pretend to be particularly talented at hand lettering, it's a bit janky and weird, but I don't care because I like it. And this bridge, I was like, oh no, she has stared into my soul. This is what she has found because, yep, autistic experience of growing up without knowing you're autistic and struggling socially and being like, why does everyone think I'm weird? What's going on? Why can't I connect with people? And then just trying so hard to make people like you. Yeah, Mastermind is the song for us, let me tell you. And luckily I had, deep in my pencil case that I'd forgotten about, this lovely sticker sheet by the Coffee Monsters Co. that's Midnight's themed. So I used that here. I love the little Benjamin Button here. What an adorable cat he is. And yeah, I just really love how this turned out. And I really love Midnight's as an album. It's been my most listened to album ever since it came out, although it's probably going to be superseded by the Tortured Poets department when that comes out. Because if there has never been an album that feels like it was more written for me, it is going to be so sad. And I love sad music and I'm just so excited. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get to that when it comes out in April. I'm not even going to apologise for the person I'm going to become in these videos and in life. Anyway, back to the present. Quotes. More quotes. So one of the most common things I do in my commonplace book is write down quotes that I found, usually on Tumblr, I'm not gonna lie, that resonated with me. This is the first quotes interlude of this year, but certainly not the last. I've also started kind of tagging the quotes with a little, what would you call this? I don't know. An intro of what they're about. and the theme, because then when I'm flicking through, if I'm going through a particular thing and I want to find a quote that relates to that thing, it's easier to find it. I think this particular quotes interlude lasted a couple of pages. Yes, it did. There are more here, along with this lovely washi tape from the Coffee Monsters Co. I think my favourites ever are these like master artist themed ones. Obviously this is Da Vinci, but I have the others as well, and they're just my favourites. I use them all the time. But yeah, lots of nice quotes. I, as ever, actually have a massive backlog of quotes to copy out right now. I never seem to be able to keep on top of that, but never mind. That just means I'm finding lots of good quotes, and that's always a good thing. Here we get to what is, I admit, quite confusing, talking about Christmas on the 7th of January, but you know, it is what it is. I decided to print out some photos and, well, screenshots of stuff that I did like in the lead up to Christmas. Got my nails done, played a lot of Animal Crossing, which I am unfortunately now burned out on. I'm taking a little break from Animal Crossing because I played it too much over Christmas, and I'm in that mood where I like never want to look at it again because I've played it for too long. So yeah, that's before the burnout happened. My character looking very happy next to the Christmas tree. That is my cat, again. She was just being really cute on Christmas Eve, having a snooze. And then actual Christmas, the tree, the dinner, the family, the board game that I can't remember the name of that we played. What was it called? Forbidden Island. There we go. It's written there. It was a good time. Then I decided to write about my Animal Crossing island, which at the time was occupying my thoughts most of the time. I called it Woodvale. I decided to restart my island, by the way, background here, because my old one, it wasn't vibing with me anymore. I didn't want to carry it on. So I started again, called it Woodvale, which is a subtle Taylor Swift reference, and had a very good time in December making lots of snow people and running about catching dung beetles, you know, as you do. I'm sure I will return to Woodvale at some point, but right now, as I say, taking a break and, well, I was going to say playing other things, but I'm not. I was playing Tears of the Kingdom again for a bit, but my time's just been kind of more taken up by reading and, yeah, haven't picked up my Switch in a while. Anyway, onto a new spread, which is about the depth year concept that I think I talked about in my intentions video, because one of my intentions this year is to have something of a depth year. It was a concept that my pal Bez on Discord introduced me to, which is basically instead of casting your net wider and like acquiring more possessions and acquiring new hobbies and interests, to instead just like zero in on things you already own or that you already enjoy, to kind of like go deeper into them instead of wider. And the concept was originated, I guess, by a writer called David Kane on his blog Raptitude, and I basically just copied out most of the article that he wrote about it. Would highly recommend reading it. I'll link it in the description. It's a very interesting concept. It's not one I'm like going 100% at. I have already picked up a new interest in mindfulness, and I have also bought some things. I just feel like if I challenged myself to just like not buy anything for a year except essentials, I'd inevitably 2 months in just panic and go on a massive shopping spree and then feel bad about it, which is something my friend Danny pointed out when I posted that video about intentions. She was like, are you sure you want to like fully not buy anything fun for a year? And I was like, you know what, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I'm kind of doing a semi-depth year, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Trying to not buy anything that I know I'm just buying for dopamine, and instead just be very intentional with what I acquire and with the things that I bring into my life, both like physically and conceptually. And it's going well so far, I've got to say. I've somehow managed to save so much more money. Who would have thought that not constantly impulse buying things on Amazon would be good? Anyway, let's move on to the next spread, which was kind of my personal intentions for depth year, which I won't go over again because I've talked about them at length in various videos. And then we have more quotes with these beautiful stickers from Stick with Kate. And I really loved how this turned out. I think it looks just very satisfying, very pleasing to the eye, shall we say. Here we have those Japanese art stamp stickers that I just use all the time because I love them. They just go with everything. They're just so beautiful. And it's very hard for me not to just use them on every single page, but I managed to get some variety in there. This is the first time I used them this year, I think. I have used them since, I won't lie. But yeah, more quotes. And this was a meta note where I was like, I've finished catching up on quotes for the first time in ages, and then immediately went and found more. so I'm no longer caught up on quotes, but never mind. Here we have my 2023 in pictures, which I've talked about in my like how I review the year video. I ended up putting them in here rather than in my private journal, which I think was my original intention, because I just thought they'd look cool in here, to be honest, and did a little caption for what each one represents. And of course, that's just the first 6 months there. And then we have the last 6 months here of the year, which honestly, that is like one of my favourite photos of the cat ever. Just sticking her little face out of a pile of paper. What is she like? I just love that cat so much. Anyway, next page, January intentions. So this is when it actually turned to January. I'd managed to make it to the 17th of January, just writing in December. So yeah, this was when January actually started. I decided to kind of zero in on which of my intentions I wanted to focus on in January, which was health, improving diet, and doing a bit of exercise, which I've talked about how that went. Turns out I just like to walk. But I did do well with the diet. I broke my Deliveroo habit mostly. I basically like only had one Deliveroo instead of 5. So that is progress. Yeah, I also wanted to do like a low on mindful spending month, which I definitely did in January. It's kind of February where I've dipped more into buying things. But they're all things that are necessary, I think, or that will bring me a lot of joy. So yeah, that was that. Oh, well, there's more there, but that was that. And then afterwards, I wrote about my Hobonichi weeks, which I have talked about in another video, how I decided to add that into my system as kind of like a place to track all of my tasks and events and yeah, just keep on top of my life. And I'm loving it. It's really, really helped with organisation, and it's also just really cute. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The cats. Look at them. They're so cute. Anyway, yeah, I did a little write-up of that. Another of the Japanese art stickers there. Yeah, I really love those. And then here we have quite a varied spread. I've got that picture of the starlings again, which I completely forgot that I'd already stuck that in, and then printed it again for the cover page. And I'm just realising that now. Never mind, it's a nice picture. Let's have it twice. I've got a note that the wonderful Ezra included in a little package that I got from them of Taylor Swift themed stickers, which, yeah, thank you again, Ezra, for that. On this day, I don't know which day it wasn't the 20th, but because I'm not observing the dates, but yeah, it was a day when I felt crummy, so I made a list of good things that were happening. This was my first like book review spread of the year. I finished The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, which was chef's kiss. Loved it, gave it 5 stars. Wrote down some quotes. Used my moon stickers as bullet points. More quotes there. And then this was when I got back into Zelda and I was like, I'm gonna make a list of all the different like shrine areas and then tick it off when I finish each one, because I get very completionist with Zelda. There's just so much to do and I feel so bad if I don't do some of it. I don't know why. Something about Zelda games, I'm just like, I must finish everything. So this is intended to help me with that. Stuck in a screenshot of Link on his trusty steed that I named Jeff for some reason. I mean, why not? And then this was where I started journaling in the daily pages. This was the first time I did that. And I continued with the theme of using like emoji stickers to sum up stuff that happened. The only difference really is that it's now horizontal instead of vertical, and I have as much space as I want. So good times all around. Really enjoying that switch. What did I do here? Oh yeah, I found this great article on The Guardian, which is like a UK newspaper. They had this cool article that was posted on New Year's Day that was loads of different people talking about tiny changes they'd made in life that had actually had really big benefits. And I decided to write down the ones that kind of appealed to me. And it turned out there were a lot. Look at that. A lot of different tiny changes to make, and needless to say, have not made all of them, but yeah, it's a real range of like true like life improvement, like connecting with yourself type stuff, and then other stuff that's just like wear all the same colour socks because it's way more convenient, which it is, to be fair. We're getting near the end of January now. Okay, this was when I was journaling a bit more. You can kind of see like the slow decline of my mental state through the emoji stickers, unfortunately. I really enjoyed the decor, so that's something. Love me some purple. I think it looks really good. It's just, you know, a shame that it kind of chronicles a not great week. but it is what it is. Can't change it. It happened, and I'm feeling better now, so there. And then here we have more quotes, and I used more of the like master artist themed stuff from the Coffee Monsters Co. And more of my favourites, the little stamp stickers. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of them soon. I need to buy more. Need to write that down. Anyway, yeah, here we have like quotes from Tumblr. And then on this page is where I started recording some quotes from the book or zine Existing Autistic by Megan Rhiannon, which is incredible. I am not actually going to show the next pages because there's loads of quotes on it, and I don't want to like encourage people to just read those quotes and think, oh, I've got everything I need to out of this zine. Like, go and buy it. It's incredible. It is on Megan's website, and I really think everybody should read it because it's such a good, concise explanation of some of the major considerations for autistic people. And even I learned a lot as somebody who has been diagnosed for quite a few months now and has read a lot about autism. Like, I still learn stuff from this zine. And yeah, it's just great. The illustration is beautiful and it's just a very educational zine. Could not recommend it enough. And yeah, that is the last page I'm going to show so that I don't just show you basically the entire zine that I copied out. And that's the end of the flip through then, isn't it? Yeah, because I haven't really done much in February yet. I think I've done one page. What have I done? Blank. I did one page of journaling, but that's it. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here because I've been talking for a while and I need some ice cream. I'm not going to lie. I need some cookie dough. I need some Ben & Jerry's cookie dough. I've been thinking about it all day and now I'm going to have some. If you have made it to the end of this very rambly video, thank you. Would love to know how your January went and start of February because I'm posting this so late for a January review, but never mind. Thank you to everyone who left like kind comments or sent me kind messages on Instagram when I mentioned that I wasn't feeling great. Like, it really did help. It really did. And I appreciate it so much. And yeah, I'm hoping this is the start of getting back into a better filming routine because this just fills me with so much joy being able to do this, just to like talk about notebooks for however long on the internet every week. Hopefully I will be back again next weekend and I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll do a video about how my Hobonichi weeks is going. All right, I am going to go now. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.